Hello. I'd like to read you a short poem. It's called The Lame Goat. You've seen a herd of goats going down to the water. The lame and dreamy goat brings up the rear. There are worried faces about that one. But now they're laughing because look, as they return, the goat is leading. There are many different kinds of knowing. The lame goat's kind is a branch that traces back to the roots of presence. Learn from the lame goat and lead the herd back home. By Rumi. This poem beautifully summarizes the Venus sequence that I'd like to introduce to you. The Venus sequence is a tool, and it's a very, very rare thing, a map of your wounding in life. So imagine if you had that. A map of your own wounding patterns and precisely how they work. You know, it's just there, calculated simply from the time and place of your birth. And you might wonder, how's that even possible? Because time is fractal, just as space is fractal. And everything evolves in spiral patterns that are laid down in every moment of presence. Because everything in our universe is encoded inside itself at a holographic level. So the moment of your birth shows everything about you. So think of the lame goat in Rumi's beautiful poem. You know, there are many different kinds of knowing, he says. And we each are wounded before we even came into these bodies. It's funny, I think. It's not funny, but it's interesting that the word for womb and wound and woman all have the same root. The same if you go to Latin, vulnerable, vulva, you know, all these roots that connect. And by the way, it's not the woman who's only wounded, but the woman bears the greatest wound because she bears the child. And the child has to leave the safety and the unity of the womb. You know, they have to leave Eden. We all do when we come into this world of suffering. So your Venus sequence, what it does is it shows you the true meaning of your suffering. You know, it shows you that behind it lies all manner of beautiful revelations, actually. And it's all laid out in layers. And our awakening through the Venus sequence unlocks in a sequence, as all life is encoded and unlocks in sequences. Like DNA is built out of trillions of sequences. So if you go online now, you can go to genekeys.com and you can get free profile and you can get your Venus sequence. You know, it's there laid out, your wound map. You can do it now for free, you know. And then go down to the bit in your profile that says genius, love and prosperity and find the bit under love and read what it says about you. It'll say, in relationships, my greatest challenge is to transform the shadow of, and then there'll be a word in there. Might be failure, might be doubt, might be division, might be reaction. You know, there's a choice of 64 words it could be. And that word, whatever that is for you, that is the source of your lameness. You know, that is your core wound. And you may not even know what that word means or it refers to. It's the core of our whole journey, right? And the Venus sequence is that journey. So it doesn't just reveal easily what it means. It's an ancestral wound that you're carrying in this life through the DNA of your lineage. But every shadow, every difficulty contains a gift, an amazing possibility. So once you've learned to unlock that gift and learned its lesson, then like the lame goat, you can lead the others back home. You know? It looks simple, I know. But I tell you, there's nothing else like this out there. There really isn't. I'm just being honest. This is a map of your specific genetic wounding. And only if you travel your own sequence will you be able to understand what it means for you. It's nice to look at maps, you know. I love looking at maps. But what's the point unless you're prepared to put your boots on and go out into the terrain, into the wilderness? And the terrain is your heart. It's your life. You know, this isn't some pensive, meditative journey. This is about seeing your Venus sequence reflected in your daily life now, in your relationships, in your past, in your health, in your work life, in your trials, tribulations, in the heart of your soul. Your Venus sequence, if you choose to walk through it, will explain everything to you about what why things happen to you the way they do. It's a map of the karmic forces underpinning your life. And there is vast beauty inside you, because we each have one of 6 core wounds. It's either repression, which can be transformed into trust, or it's denial, which can be transformed into freedom, or it's shame, which is transformed into joy, or it's rejection transformed into gentleness, or it's guilt transformed into forgiveness, or it's separation, which can be transformed into harmony. One of those 6 you have. And these are our human journeys. So I want to invite you to come and find out about yours. Be one of the warriors. You know, now is a time in the world for warriors to step forth. You know, the warrior goat. We're all wounded. We've all made so many mistakes. We all carry these wounds of shame or rejection or repression. The Venus sequence is for bold people. People who are ready to confront their own patterns and shadows. People who are ready to make real and lasting changes to the way that we treat our own hearts and others. Because the worst things we humans do is treat ourselves so badly. So come on the journey, learn to heal your own heart, and then become a healer for others. Just by being you. That's what the Venus sequence is all about. Join us.